evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, April 5th meeting of the Public Facilities, Arts, and Culture Committee. I am detecting a quorum with myself, Councilmember Bradford, Councilmember Hager, Councilmember Hurt, Councilmember Nash, and Councilmember Taylor. Do not see, Councilmember Syracuse is out of town. I do not see the Vice Chair Van Rees, Councilmember Young, or Councilmember Henderson. I have gone through and selected some bills for a consent agenda. I will read those real quickly. RS 2022-1458, RS 2022-1460, 1461, 1462, 1463. Do any of those need to be pulled from consent? All right, I'll go and read the captions. RS 2022-1458, Allen Bradford Welsh Suara approves an application for training opportunities for the public, or TOP grant, from the Tennessee State Library and Archives to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Nashville Public Library, to provide funds for free technology training and equipment for use by members of the community. RS 2022-1460, Allen Bradford Welsh and others accepts an in-kind grant from Lawrence K. Wolf, M.D., and family to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Parks and Recreation Department, of a Nab & Company baby grand piano to be placed in the entrance lobby of the Centennial Performing Arts Studio for staff and visitors to use. RS 2022-1461, Allen and Bradford accepts a grant from the Centennial Park Conservancy to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation, to provide funding for one part-time position to the Parthenon Museum store. RS 2022-1462, Allen Bradford Welsh and others accepts a grant from the Nashville Parks Foundation to the Metropolitan Government by and through the Metro Parks Recreation Department, and for programming improvements at Metro Community Centers. And lastly, on consent, RS 2022-1463, Henderson Allen Bradford accepts an in-kind grant from the Friends of Itafama, if I'm pronouncing that right, Archaeological Park, to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through Metro Parks and Recreation Department, to fund improvements to the Itafama Archaeological Park.
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Third.
All right. All those in favor of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So the consent agenda passes on a vote of 5-0. All right, that brings us to RS 2022-1449, O'Connell Bradford. It approves a memorandum of understanding between the Nashville Farmers Market and the State of Tennessee Department of General Services for maintenance of the shared parking lot between the market and the Tennessee State Museum. Do I have a motion?
Second.
I think we're good.
Okay. And the reason I held this off consent is I just wanted to get some clarification about just the terms of this agreement, and so I'll go ahead. I know we've got some representatives from the farmers market, but then we'll go ahead and discuss.
Oh, yeah, okay. My name is Daryl. I am the executive director for the market right now. And yes, and my understanding was from talking to the people that have been at the market, because I've been there just a few weeks, is that when the parking lot was constructed, that there were no maybe clear guidelines as to how that particular parking area would be maintained and so forth between the shared responsibilities of the museum, the state museum, and the farmers market. So the written documents indicate that there are some specific guidelines as to who would actually oversee certain aspects of it, especially during events. So during the events, we just want to make sure that we would have the right to be able to submit if we had an event where we wanted to use the parking lot, that would be understood by people about the parking lot, and also just the general maintenance of the parking lot would be the responsibility of the Department of General Services.
So this wouldn't put any extra financial costs on the operations or on the budget. This would be taken care
That's
of by
correct.
the
Yeah,
state.
there shouldn't be anything. There was just no clear understanding as to how we were going to operate the parking lot.
Okay.
And the state is gonna have some maintenance responsibilities also. They're gonna do some dealing with the plants and making sure there's security that roams it. So the only funds that'll be expended will be from the state side.
Any other discussion? You have a
Well,
question?
yes, because I don't see that being a consistent thing, because there are other metro, properties or, locations where maintenance agreements have had to be made on parts of the community and not, on the Department of General Services. And it has, and I just think that this is, I'm confused about what Metro requires.
But, I was gonna say, I think they mean the State Department of General Services.
Yeah, the State Department
The
of General
Tennessee
Services will be
Department of General
maintaining.
I apologize.
It doesn't say state, it says in the state of Tennessee, then it says Department of General Services. So is it the state?
It's the state's Department of General Services.
Okay.
So does that kind of clarify your question?
Well, now I need to have the state clarify, because the same thing happened with some state property where it was left up to, community organizations to maintain and institutions, to maintain, and it's state property. But it was Metro that enforced the maintenance agreement. I'm speaking of the Gateway to Heritage.
Councilmember
It's
Hager?
my understanding we leased the property from the state anyway, am I right?
That's correct. We originally leased the larger parcel and then leased back to the state the parking lot in between the State Museum and the Farmers Market. So that's the kind of place we're in right now. And so originally this started actually in the last administration for Farmers Market because of concerns that people were parking in that lot really early in the morning, construction trucks, to then go work on things like the archives building, which was being built nearby. And so the concern was that the patrons for the museum and for the farmers market weren't able to use the lot. And so that's why they got with us and their executive director Kennard at the time and said, hey, let's find a way to make sure that people who are parking here are the ones using the facilities.
Right, so I'm not sure in the lease agreement who's responsible for the maintenance and everything else. I think we are to a certain extent, and they're responsible for some of the other part of the property, am I
Yes.
correct?
That's correct.
But I still would like a clarification, I guess, in terms of such maintenance agreements, when it does involve the state, what the responsibility is with Metro and the state and the consistency of it.
Is that something council office or legal could work up? Like, what other similar parcels or maintenance agreements are in place and who's responsible, if it's the state or Metro or private entities?
Yeah, we can look into that. I was gonna say, you had mentioned a specific location. I might get with you to get that and any others that are in particular that you know of, and we can look into those.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, with that, I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
All right?
Right.
Any opposed? All right, with Councilmember Young attending, that makes it 6 in favor, none against.
I
All right.
don't know, maybe I need to abstain.
Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and do that. So we've got 5 in favor, 1 abstention. RS 2022-1454, Allen and Bradford accepts the terms of a cooperative purchasing master agreement for large frame agricultural tractors and attachments for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Second.
Okay. And discussion. Councilmember Hager.
Just for this one tractor or how many?
Let's see, Shanita White's not here, I believe.
No,
Oh,
I'm
there
here,
you
no,
are.
but that's not me.
Yeah.
Rick is not here.
Yeah.
Rick Taylor is not here. So.
Where's Rick at?
Good question.
Yeah. Huh?
Good
Well, it
question.
says tractors, it's got an S on it, so it's at least 2.
Well, that's what I'm asking, and then I guess how much money is being spent? Is that something they're putting into this or not?
So from my prior job, prior career, we utilize these. We're not approving an expenditure with this resolution. This is to join a cooperative purchasing agreement where typically, it's probably called Sourcewell. I don't know if that's what this one's through or not, I don't remember. It's where someone, it's kind of like buying off the state contract, where someone has negotiated at a certain price for the members of that cooperative to be able to purchase at that price. So this is us agreeing to join that cooperative. It's not authorizing any purchase.
I believe there was similar legislation where we brought this up. That's one reason I left this off consent, was I wanted to confirm if there was a similar situation as before, so.
Yeah, and Councilman Young did a perfect job of explaining it, and it is Sourcewell.
All right, with that, is there any other discussion on this one? All right, with a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's 6-0. And I do believe that brings us to the end of our agenda. Since we do have someone from the farmer's market, I just want to go ahead and extend an invitation to our next committee meeting, if you'd like to come and just kind of talk to us about the farmer's market and let us know what's going on out there.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right. Yes. All right, with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.